Hi, this is Ms. Brubeck, and today I'm making a video about how to multiply polynomials. So as you can see here, we have four polynomials. We have f of x, g of x, h of x, and j of x. And we're not going to use all of them for this first problem. For this first problem, it just says f of x times g of x. So that means we need to be using just the f of x and the g of x. And if you remember last video I made was about adding and subtracting polynomials. This one is about multiplying polynomials. Now, I like to use the box method, and that's what I'm going to be showing you. And that's what you'll be using when we're multiplying polynomials in class, is the box method. And I make my box, actually I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I make my box, I make the size based on how many terms are in the polynomials I'm using. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So the first function is f of x, and it is just a monomial. It just has one term, 3x. So it only needs space right here. The other function is g of x, which is negative 2x plus 9. So we're going to put the negative 2x on the top, and then the plus 9 is going to get its own little square. And then we're multiplying polynomials, so we're just going to multiply. So that's the first step, is setting up your box. The second step is the multiplication. So we're going to multiply 3 times negative 2, which is negative 6. And then we're going to deal with the variables. Now we have two x's, so it's going to be x squared. You count the exponents, you count the variables, and that's how many exponents you're going to have. Now, if you don't remember how to do this, we learned this a few weeks ago. When you are multiplying expressions, we add our exponents. So 3x has a 1 above that x. There's an invisible 1, and the negative 2x has a invisible 1. So when you add that, 1 plus 1 gets you x squared. So that's how we're doing that. That's how we're getting that x squared. You also can think of it as you're just counting the number of x's, and then you add them, and that's your exponent. But you're ultimately, what we're doing is we're using the rule of multiplying expressions with exponents, and when you multiply expressions with exponents, you add the exponents. Then we're going to do 3 times 9, and I like to put a plus sign because it's a positive 27, and I'll show you why. So it's going to be a positive 27, and then there's only one x, so it'll just be 27x. So then we want to write our final answer, and our final answer is going to be negative 6x squared plus 27x. Let me try that again. And that's it. That's all you have to do for this problem. Now the problems are going to get a little bit harder as we go, but when you multiply a monomial times, a binomial or a trinomial, that's all you have to do, and that's your answer. Right? If you need more time, go ahead and pause this video because I'm moving on to the next slide. Okay, this time we're using g of x and h of x. So this is going to be a little bit different, and the box is going to be a different size. So we're using g of x and h of x. So I'm going to go ahead. You don't always have to do this. I just, for the notes, want to make it really clear which functions we're using. And again, we're multiplying. This time, it's a binomial times a binomial. So we're going to make our box a little bit bigger. Since it's a binomial times a binomial, I'm actually going to make it look like a square. So before I made it look like kind of a rectangle. Now I'm making it look like a square. And then I'm going to make pieces, like 4 pieces inside. And so we're going to, it doesn't matter which part goes where. I'm going to put the g of x on top, negative 2x plus 9. It's going to go right here, and I'm going to put the h of x on the side, 4x, and then that minus 1 goes right here. Let's try that again. Okay, so that's the first step, is getting your box set up. Once you have your box set up, then we're going to multiply. So just like before, you're going to multiply the edges. So for this box right here, this square, you're going to do 4 times negative 2, which gets you negative 8. and then you have 2 x's, so it's x squared. I'm going to do this box next. It's 4x times 9, so 4 times 9 is, I'm going to say a positive 36. Like I said, I like to keep my signs inside there. Positive 36 with 1x. The next box we're going to do is this one right here on the bottom left. We're going to multiply -1 times -2x. -1 times -2 is a positive 2. Again, like I said, I like to put the signs there, and then you have 1x. And then the last one we're doing is -1 times positive 9, which is a -9. Now, this time you want to look at what's inside your box, because there are some terms that we can combine. The 3x and the 2x have the same variable and the same exponent. They both have a variable of x, and they both have an invisible 1 as their exponent. So we can actually combine those. So we'll write the -8x squared down. And then we'll combine the 36x and the 2x. 36 plus 2 is 38. So we'll have 38x. And if you want to, you could put it to the first power. You don't have to. And then you have -9. So that's your final answer. And you're going to notice that I write these a certain way. I write these where the exponents go from largest to smallest. So it goes from, we've got exponent of 2, exponent of 1, and then we have our constant right here. All right, it's okay if you don't write yours in order, but you're always going to see me do that. That is it for this problem. We have one more, so if you need more time on this slide, go ahead and pause the video because I'm moving on to the next slide. All right, this time we're going to have a different size box again. So now we have j of x and h of x. So we're going to need these two. And now we have a binomial and a trinomial. H of x, that's 4x minus 1. That's a binomial. And then we have a trinomial for j of x, it's x squared minus 3x plus 4. So I'm going to need to make a box 2 by 3. I'm going to make it look like this. Make sure it's plenty big. And so I'm going to cut it in half here. And then I'm going to need 3 pieces here. And so I'm going to put my 4x here, my 4x minus 1 on this side. This is where my binomial will go. And then my trinomial will go up here. X squared minus 3x plus 4. And just so you're aware, when you have this x squared, you can go ahead and add an invisible 1 in front if you'd like, because there is an invisible 1 in front. So again, we're going to multiply. We're going to multiply this one first. 4x times 1x squared. So 4 times 1 is 4. And then you count the number of x's that you have. That didn't look great. So you've got 2 x's on the top, 1x right here. So it's x to the third, 3 x's. Now, if you're forgetting, it's x to the first, you're multiplying it by x squared. And so when you're multiplying expressions with exponents, you add those exponents, which is how we're getting that x to the third power. Now we're going to do this box. And so we're going to multiply 4x times negative 3x. So 4 times negative 3 is a negative 12. And you have 1x here, 1x here, so that's 2 x's, so x squared. Then we're going to do this box. 4 times 4 is a positive 16. And then you only have 1x. Keep messing this guy up. You only have 1x, so just x. You can put a 1 if you want to. Then we're going to do this one down here, -1 times 1x squared. So -1 times 1 is -1, and then you just have the x squared. Then we're going to do this box right here. -1 times -3x to the first power. So -1 times -3 is a +3. And then there's just one x. You can put a 1 exponent if you want. You don't have to. And then our last box is -1 times 4, which is -4. So again, we're going to want to combine like terms. So if you see here, this one, the -12, has an x squared, and the -1 has an x squared. And then here, remember, to combine like terms, it has to have the same variable and the same exponent. And then for this one, 16x to the first can be combined with 3x to the first because they have the same variable and the same exponent of 1. So I'm going to go ahead and just go left to right. And I'm going to go ahead and write the 4x to the third down here because it can't be combined with anything. But then the -12 x squared and the -1 x squared, you just add those. So -12 plus -1 is going to be -13 x squared. I don't know if you can hear my cat, but she is losing her mind. Then we're going to add the 16x and the 3x, and that's going to be 19x. And if you want to, you can put it to the first power, but you don't have to. And then we'll put the -4 at the end. And that's our final answer. And as you see, our exponents go from largest to smallest until we have just a constant at the end. If you don't write it in that order, that's okay, but that's the order you're going to see Miss Line and myself write it. All right, that is it. If you need more time on this slide, go ahead and pause it. Thank you for watching, and make sure you push the turn in button on Google Classroom once you're done with your Jamboard.